PrizePicks Fantasy knows how huge UFC 305 is, so they're giving you basically a free win. You can go to PrizePicks and do more than a half of a significant strike on Israel Adesanya, which is essentially a free square. All you need to do is grab another side that makes sense, and boom, you got your free money. To round all of that out, PrizePicks will give you $50 for free, and the only thing you need to do is build one entry for $5. This is the perfect week to do that because they're giving you the free square. We're going to take both of those offers and get you a whole bunch of free money. The only thing you need to do is go to wewantpicks.com/prizepicks. Use promo code WWP when you make your account. Deposit a couple of bucks, take 5 of it, and build an entry. One half of that entry will be Israel Adesanya, more than a half of a significant strike. I will give you the other half of that entry. You click submit. They give you $50 in your account that quickly. Once you have that $50, then you can build a different, more robust entry. If you already have a PrizePicks account, I have an entry for you. So let's run through all of that. First thing you need to do is wewantpicks.com/prizepicks, promo code WWP to get all this free money heading into fight weekend. Let's start with this Israel Adesanya, more than a half of a significant strike. Obviously, the dude's going to land at least one punch. This is a gift. They're giving you a gift. So what we're going to do is go grab the other side, and then I'll build an entirely different entry, okay? When you do take this free square, we'll call it, they limit how much money. You can't take a free square and then put $500 on it. They're going to limit you, but it doesn't matter. If you're a brand new customer, you use this and you get the free $50. If you're not a brand new customer, still use this, max it out, and then we'll build an entirely different entry without this in there, all right? That's a lot of talking to tell you to use my promo code WWP. So let's work our way down. Let's go ahead and look. Obviously, we're going to start with this Israel Adesanya, half of a significant strike. If we look at the other fighters and their significant strike lines, there's not a lot that I absolutely love. Obviously, Tom Nolan is a minus 1,500 favorite. The world is saying he could win this fight just with a dirty look. I can't do anything with this significant strike line. I'm going to leave it alone. There's too many unknowns going into that fight. Jack Jenkins at 39.5. That's one I'm tempted to do the more of because he just lights up leg kicks. But Herbert Burns is kind of a quitter, so it may not go that long. Kenan Song, Ricky Glenn's another guy that gets knocked out with a dirty look. So less seems to make sense there. So if you want to throw less on Kenan Song, we can do that. But let's work our way down and find something we are very confident in so that we can essentially guarantee the payout there. Dan Hooker, 45.5 significant strikes, and that's what's going to be the other side of this free entry. Dan Hooker, and I'll go ahead and throw 20 bucks at it. Dan Hooker doesn't get to 45.5 very often on his own. That's just not a number he gets to just freely. Dan Hooker is also fighting a guy that will be wrestling the absolute crap out of him. And if you go look at his opponent, Mateusz Gamrot, and you look at what his opponent, Mateusz Gamrot, is doing, he is almost never allowing that many significant strikes. He didn't allow that many significant strikes when he fought Jalen Turner. He didn't allow that many significant strikes when he just fought Rafael Dos Anjos. 2 fights that went to a decision. The only times he allowed that many significant strikes is when he lost to Beneil Dariush, because Beneil has the greatest takedown defense we have ever seen, and in a 5-round fight with Arman Tsarukyan. No matter what the outcome is of this fight, Dan Hooker is not landing 45.5 significant strikes. Here's your free entry. Now, let's remove this free square. We're going to clear this. We've already used our free square. Let's remove it. I'm going to re-add Dan Hooker, less than 45.5 significant strikes, because I do like that. Then, as we work our way down, we see Israel Adesanya again, for real this time. My original entry that I put out there on Monday for premium members, we had the less on Izzy's strike line, and it was 95.5. We had the less because I think Dricus to Plessis is just going to be in his face. Non-stop pressure, non-stop moving forward, and Izzy's not a high-volume guy. He doesn't land a ton of significant strikes because he's a counter striker. You come at him, he'll roll, he'll move, and then he'll land. So if Dricus to Plessis runs through Izzy, Izzy's not going to land this many. If Izzy knocks out Dricus, he's still not going to land this many because it's going to be a reckless Dricus charging forward and getting caught. What I do love here as well is the more on Dricus to Plessis. I'm going to remove the Izzy line, because we have the free square option. I already have another entry built that I will show you. And we're going to add Dricus more than 78.5. If you run through this gentleman's fight history, it's not even close. Let me walk you through some of his last couple of fights. Dricus du Plessis landed 137 in his last fight. Robert Whittaker, he only landed 62 in a knockout that was under 1.5 rounds. He landed 71 against Derek Brunson in a second-round knockout. 86 against Darren Till in a third-round submission. Dricus du Plessis landed 113 significant strikes in a decision against Brad Tavares. He's a high-pressure guy. He's going to need the volume. And even though I do think he wins, and I think it's pretty straightforward, I don't think Izzy's a guy that's going to get finished, let alone finished early. I think Dricus gets past this number. I just mentioned he got to 71 in a second-round finish over Derek Brunson. We would only need 8 more strikes after that, and I think this fight certainly gets to the third round. That's enough ranting and raving about the strike line. If we go to regular strikes, you're going to see PFL on here. We're not talking about that in video, but if you do watch PFL, here you go. If we go to fight time minutes, I don't love any of these. There's some PFL up top. If we work our way down, I don't love any of these. Ricky Glenn can definitely get knocked out early, but it's not a guarantee. Tom Nolan can definitely knock out Alex Reyes. It probably happens, and it probably happens in under 5 minutes, so the less is probably good there. Jack Jenkins, 7.5 fight minutes, same situation. The less is probably good. Walter Walker, not going to touch it because he's a nasty wrestler. He's basically a Nurmagomedov, except enormous. We saw trash cardio from him in his last fight. He physically looks like a different person. Too many unknowns there. We're going to leave the rest of these alone. I don't love any of them. If we go to fantasy score, what I do like here, we'll get past the PFL, and they have removed my girl, Luana Santos. I loved her here, and she's gone. I'll show you the entry that I built for premium members on Monday. If you're not a premium member, go to WeWantPicks.com. You can unlock all this very early. Sometimes we beat the line movement. Sometimes we just lose the line in general. Her fantasy score line was 87.5, and I like the more there. I think she gets a bunch of takedowns. I think she could potentially get a finish. And if we look at the scoring chart, the MMA scoring chart accounts for submission attempts. I think she'll attempt some submissions as well. So Luana Santos, I liked the more there. That is no longer an option. And then if we go to takedowns, all we have is Dricus at 4. I like the more there as well. We already have Dricus at the 78.5 significant strikes, so we can't use both. I'm going to keep the strike line. I trust that a little bit more than all of these takedowns, even though he should get that many takedowns. So what I'm going to do for you, because we can leave this here as a power play, and I've given you 2 power plays, or we can add another leg here. If we go back to fight minutes and we go to Kenan Song, we're going to do the less. Ricky Glenn surviving into the third round is a highly unlikely outcome. So we're going to do the less there. Kenan Song is one-punch knockout power, and Ricky Glenn is a one-punch get knocked out kind of guy. But what we're going to do is the flex play, because these are fist fights and anything can happen. We're going to throw $20 at it. We will 2.25 times our money, and that is now locked in. If we go to my lineups, here are the entries that we have. I've got 3 entries on this card. Here's the one that I built the other day for premium members. You will see that Luana Santos down here, that 87.5 fantasy score. That's no longer on the table. If it does pop up by the time you watch this video, go for it. Kenan Song, 9.75 fight minutes. We just got an even better line than that. We did the less. And Israel Adesanya, 95.5 significant strikes. The less on that. That number is different today, but it's close enough. You should be good. If we take a look at the first entry I gave you, this includes the free square. I took my 2 most confident lines, and I'm giving it to you. We got Israel Adesanya, more than a half of significant strike. That's free. And then we have the Dan Hooker, less than 45.5 significant strikes. I just don't see Dan landing that many significant strikes, win or lose. If he wins, it's a knockout. If he loses, he's getting held down the whole time and he doesn't get his hands going. And then finally, the 3-leg entry that we just built together was that same Dan Hooker significant strike line. More on Dricus' significant strike line because of the forward pressure and the volume. And then that same Kenan Song, fewer on fight minutes. This time it was 10.5. I've given you a whole bunch of options, a lot of information to work with. The most important thing, though, is get your free money. Get your free money. WeWantPicks.com/PrizePicks, promo code WWP.